We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Merriweather just made a great play. Faked the guy on the outside, stepped inside him, and made the block. It was a hell of a game. I mean, shit. For $23, if you can get more excitement than that, hell, you're in the wrong operation. It was a hell of a game. Let me say something. As long as I'm in this fucking job, Snelker will be the offensive coach. I mean, no question fucking about that. No fucking question about that. Now, I don't like to name names after a fucking game, but we can't be responsible for the blocking. We can't be responsible for the fucking guys jumping offside. We can't be responsible for we get down there and it was a dumb play by Anderson. I love Anderson, but it was a dumb fucking play when his foot was shoe was coming off up the line screen. We were howling take time out. We had a fucking trap play called, and his fucking shoe comes off. That ain't Bob Snelker's fault. We have another fucking trap play, and if Finney picks up his fucking feet, he walks in. We got the fucking pass to AC out there in the flat. The ball's thrown in low. That isn't Snelker's fault. We got right down there. We got the second down, and I don't know what the hell. 2 yards ago, I don't know what 15, 40, whatever the hell it was, and Irwin jumps offside. Now, these are the things that have been hurting us all along, the little things. We're working at them to stop them. We moved the ball good today. We went down there, and we didn't get the ball in the end zone.
Did you win this game?
I think we did, yeah. Anything else?
Well, just before you do go, Carlos, you had a kicking problem in the past.
No, we'll stir one up. We'll stir one up here before it's done. You know, he did a sensational fucking job. Kicked seven goddamn field goals. You can win a game many ways, many ways. DJ, I was happy when they kicked the goddamn ball to him. Yeah, last week on the Giants, Christ, he ran 65 yards. This time he fumbles the ball. What the hell can you do? Fuck, you can't, all you do is you prepare as thoroughly as you can. The guys play their asses off. Any other questions?
Late figures like this help you?
Sure to help us. Sure, I talked to John afterwards. I thought it was a tough one for him to lose. But it's a big win. Big win. It was a hell of a great catch by Hassan. The guys didn't give up. A great catch by Hassan. A great field goal by Carlos.
Is that exactly the same play as the previous one?
Exactly the same one. He almost had the ball the previous one. And he went up, and by a great effort, he got the ball.
Was AC hurt? Or was
he was hurt. AC had a groin pull on that one pass, and that quick over there that he caught, and he sort of went down, and he had the splits.
What's that play called?
It's called squadron left, squadron right, whichever way the squadron lines up, squadron fly. That was a squadron left, squadron fly. They were going down there. What you're looking for is exactly what happened. That, the tip ball, maybe a penalty, some damn thing. Some damn thing. That same pass. This game reminds me of a Cleveland Brown game when we went down to the old Met Center. When we throw the ball century and he lateral the ball to Teddy Brown. Teddy Brown ran out of bounds. Made a great play. The next one we hit Ahmad on the squadron right, put it in and won the division.
in this squad, there's usually 4 wide receivers?
3 wide receivers. 3 wide receivers. Tight end stays in, fullback stays in, 3 wide receivers. Their job is to run down there and hopefully they get a tip ball, pass interference, a great play, something.
Jerry, your stuff, your endorsement stems from all this stuff all during the week.
The guy feel like shit afterwards. What?
Or something that happened today, or just...
Yeah, he felt like shit afterwards. Everybody booing the shit out of him. He worked his ass off. And no smarter coordinator in football. Fuck, they put his picture up there and the fuckers boo him. Fuckers.
Welcome, everybody. Episode 9 of Vikings Uncensored.
What a great way to start.
Great way to start. You know, as I'm sure most of you know, we lost Coach Jerry Burns on Wednesday last week. So we thought, what better way to pay tribute to one of the best coaches in Vikings history than to play the interview that he's most famous for, his uncensored rant video. So, you know, we've
made those like post-conference, interviews more edgy.
Yeah, and you see stuff like that, you kind of get the impression that Burnsy was this ornery old fart that just hated everything. But he was actually really laid back, and
he's just a fired up man.
And he was funnier than hell, I guess. Tommy Kramer said he's one of the funniest coaches he's ever, and most laid back coaches he's ever been or dealt with. But we figured we're gonna, well, before we get into it, again, for those of you new to the show, I'm Rhino.
I'm Lance.
Lance, my co-host over there. But we're gonna break right into the finish off our Jerry Burns tribute for the year, or for the episode. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff going on, some latest news, so recap of rookie minicamp, which happened this past weekend. We got a few viewer questions to go through. We've got another classic beer commercial. And of course, we got the Where Are They Now coming up later also that I think you guys will like. So now we're going to break in a little bit on, the history of Coach Jerry Burns with the team. He was, before he came to the Vikings, from 1954 to 1965, he coached at the University of Iowa, various positions. He was an assistant for a year, defensive backs coach for 2 years, defensive coordinator for 4 years, and head coach for 5 years.
Also had very good knowledge on the offensive side as well.
Yep. So then after his stint as head coach at Iowa, he actually was hired with the team from Wisconsin over there to be their defensive backs coach.
Right. And
a little interesting story, when Bud got to know Jerry Burns when
they were friends. They've been lifelong friends.
Yeah, when Burnsy was still in Iowa, Bud had gone down there for some recruiting or whatever the case may have been, and him and Jerry struck up a friendship that lasted up until Burnsy, passed here last week.
Right.
But when Bud took over the Vikings in 1967, he wanted Burnsy to come over and be.
He had been advocating for Burns to come over.
But the problem is Burnsy was still under contract and couldn't get out of it. So Bud actually held a position open for a year.
Yeah. Very respectful thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted him here. He wanted his buddy here.
Yep. And then one of the interesting things, a lot of what Burnsy had done before was defensive minded, but when he came over here, he became the offensive coordinator, and realistically one of the greatest offensive minds the league has seen in its history.
He was right up there with Walsh for sure.
Well, and that's, they always give Bill Walsh credit for creating the West Coast offense. Actually, it was Jerry Burns that created it.
Yeah.
He was running it here before Walsh was in San Francisco.
It just hadn't been named yet.
Yeah, Walsh got the credit for it because they made it popular, won titles with it, and so on and so forth. But the
Well,
actual,
you never heard Burns bitch about it though.
he didn't care. He was doing what he loved and he didn't need
Yep.
the notoriety.
I always love Burns.
I did
I
too.
mean, he's one of the most underspoke about Vikings coaches, I believe.
Mhm. You know, realistically, he should have taken over for Grant the first time when Les
Right.
Steckel got hired. But then after the disaster that was the Les Steckel year, Bud came back for one more season.
Rob
And then when
Bernsey.
Bernsey was still here. He was
Yep.
coordinator for Steckel as well.
Yep.
But then once Bud retired for the second and final time, then Bernsey got the job.
I'm pretty sure Bud had a lot to do with that too.
I'm sure it did. So then in 1986, Bernsey took over as head coach of the Vikings, coach until 1991. He is number 4.
Good for him too.
Yep. He's number 4 on the team list in winning percentage at 547. He's got 52, 43, and 0. So he's behind Bud Grant, Denny Green, and Mike Zimmer as far as winning percentage, and just barely behind Zimmer. Zimmer's at like 557 and Burns is at 546.
And I think Zim's going on almost. I think this might be matches years as far as length of tenure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but one thing about Bernsey though, and when I saw this stat, I was shocked. I'd never thought of this.
Me too. Yeah.
But Jerry Burns was the second coach in team history and the last coach in team history to win multiple playoff games in the same season. And
I have batted this back. I'm like, no way. No, yeah.
Yeah, 1987 when we went down and stomped a mud hole in the Saints' ass, and then went on the following week.
Beat San
Francisco, that game when Anthony Carter had 220 some odd yards receiving.
And the reason why is because when Denny would bring us in, and we had discussed this, we'd usually have that first round bye, and get to the divisional round, and then we'd fucking blow a stinker in the championship game.
Right.
Or we win the wild card and then we'd lose in the divisional round.
Yeah, so it's hard to believe that there's only 2 coaches in team history that have won multiple
Denny
playoff
got
games
us to the playoffs a lot, but
yeah,
he couldn't win more than one game in the playoffs. Not all respect to Denny because he was badass, but
right.
It says enough. There's only 2 of the coaches in our team's history to ever have done it. So,
so that just puts him right there, as legendary status in Vikings history, and coach will be missed.
And just a great overall guy.
He was, and rest in peace, Bernsey. We're gonna miss you, and one of these days we're gonna title for you. All right, so now we'll move on. We'll go through some of the latest news here and hit rookie camp and things like that. Around the NFL, the only real big news of the week, other than as the cheese molds over there, they brought in Blake Bortles and Beneckert for arms, basically, to throw balls around. It
is saying a lot. Honestly, they're sweating. They're sweating over there.
They only had one quarterback on the roster, so they needed somebody for guys for OTAs and stuff anyway. So, but
so funny.
We don't need to dive into them that much this week. We spent a lot of time the last couple weeks. So.
Yeah, you guys all know anyways. If you don't, go look.
Right. But the other major news is the with the whole remote workout kerfuffle that happened with Broncos defensive lineman Jawan James. They cut him this week due to that injury.
Are you kidding me?
Non-football related injury, but
he probably won't be playing this week.
No, he's not going to play this week for sure.
He won't be playing this year. Excuse me.
It's hard. Maybe later on, depending upon how the injury goes. But
yeah, depending on the extent of it, for sure.
The Broncos are saving $15 million towards the cap.
He's an elite lineman, though. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, he'll eventually get a job again someplace. It's just,
it's kind of like the Eric Fisher deal, almost.
Kind of.
Just a little bit of different circumstances.
Right. So, but yeah, well, that bears watching, so we'll keep an eye on that. But then as far as Vikings news goes, the big one was that we traded former first-round cornerback Mike Hughes and a 7th-round pick to Kansas City for their 6th-round pick.
You made another and you was gone.
So basically, we gave away Mike Hughes, and we gained close to $2 million in cap space, I think, somewhere in that general vicinity. But
I don't know. We gave him away, but I mean, he didn't.
Yeah, in the 4 year, in the 4
What can
years,
you get for a guy that really didn't do shit while he was here? So I mean,
yeah, in the 4 years he was here, or 3 years, whatever it's been, I think he played in 23 games or something.
I think if we wouldn't have gotten anything for him, we would have just ended up cutting him anyways. Honestly.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll dive into that a little bit in our Q&A segment here later on. But then the other thing, and then this will roll right into the mini camp. We've got quite a few of the draft picks signed already, which is kind of interesting.
Some of them are signed to that rinky-dink injury type of prevention.
Yeah, they did that with They did that with Kellen Mond, I know, because he hasn't signed yet. But they've actually got contracts signed with Darasaw, Wang Chung, Wang Wu, Wang a Dang a Ding Dong, or whatever his name is.
Wang. Hey, Wang.
Yeah. Long Duck Dong or whatever.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky. The donga need food.
There you go.
Dog, where is my automobile?
Yep.
Where is my automobile?
Automobile? Leg. Big leg.
Looking down from the bunk bed, dude, for sure.
Then Cameron Bynum is also signed. Smith Marset is signed, and Davidson also has signed. So
I'm excited for this class. I think honestly, I'm excited about usually every class, but there's something about this class that I'm a little bit more excited about, not in my belief, honestly.
Yeah, and it bears, I guess, a little more interest on my side because this is probably one of the few years where they've actually signed guys that I wanted them to sign.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is one of the few years where I was like, this guy would be nice, and we took them, and they're decent spots.
Right. So maybe a little more invested in it to see how good we are at scouting.
And a couple of those guys were steals, and I think a lot that plays into it was last year and what was going on, and a lot of these guys don't have tape. So a lot of this talent really fell in the draft, and I think we picked up a lot of good guys there in that 3rd round.
Yeah. So, and we'll see how things go, with the
right
when they run out. But as far as any news out of the rookie camp, Wyatt Davis was practicing, and he was practicing exclusively at right guard. There had been some discussion whether he was going to be at the right or at the left, but if he's at right guard, that means that Cleveland probably will be moving over to left guard.
Which is better suited for Cleveland coming out as a left tackle. He's used to that side. So I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I think so too. And that was kind of a question, but as long as they do this and don't get cute and start flip-flopping and end up starting Dakota Dozier over one of these guys or something,
And then if you throw Ham in that mix blocking as well, it's going to be nasty, boys.
Yeah. Then the next thing, Kellen Mond, like I said, he hasn't signed his contract, but he had signed an injury protection thing so he could practice. He was working under center for the first time, when he was at A&M, they played exclusively either the pistol or in the gun, more of that air raid style offense. So
everybody likes to make a bunch of fuss about that, but
I mean,
you play quarterback your whole life, you can get under center and take a snap.
It takes a little bit of learning and getting used to, and there again,
you would think if you're playing quarterback in the NFL that you could fucking take a snap from under center.
But there again, this is all part of the development that we're all saying that Mon is going to need before he's ready.
Of course, yeah.
You know, then also our other wonderful backups, Nate Stanley and Jake Browning, they were both there too, throwing the ball around. The one day I heard Stanley looked pretty bad. Browning was probably the most accurate out of the three, but he was only throwing short passes and stuff. So,
hey man, the good ones step up. It's kind of like filtering them out.
Yeah. Then our new wide receivers coach, he made a pretty good impression. They said he was really hands-on. He was out there with,
you
working with the guys.
Some pads on that guy and he could still play this game, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will reiterate on that. I think we got a real good guy there with McCardell, and I'm interested to see how he works with these guys.
We could possibly, this is a hot, spicy take. We could possibly have a couple 1,000-yard receivers again here in Minnesota this year.
Yeah, we should. Actually, we really should. When you think
we really should. I mean, that's just I'm thinking, with Kirk and that arm that everybody loves so much, it could be getting 3,000-yard receivers here, plus with Delvin getting some as well. But
wow, I mean, we need to be running more 3 wide receiver sets if we're going to do that. But if we can get 500-600 yards out of our 3rd wide receiver, then we're doing
whether
something.
That be Smith Jr. or whoever it is to be named yet.
Yeah, Smith Marset or BC Johnson, or Chad Beebe's never going to get to that because he'll break off both of his legs and 3 kneecaps by that time. But so the next thing, our couple of tight ends we brought in, Zach Davidson and Shane Zylstra. They said those guys looked really good. They
really good.
They were basically catching everything that was thrown at them.
Yep.
So, that's a promising sign there.
That is very promising. A fucking punter converted to tight end. I never heard of such a thing.
And the guy's got hands. So
right. Like, you think of punter, you think of like a dude that can't do anything but hit stuff with his foot.
Yeah. But apparently this one can catch.
You see some of those punters trying to tackle in the NFL and crap, and you're like, what are they doing? And the funniest thing is when they get these like marquee fucking return guys and they get tackled by the punter. It's always funny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah. So anyway, coming out of the rookie camp, they had 5 players in for tryouts along with that. And we're actually we're signing 2 of those 5, the way it sounds. Tackle Evan Kasarchik, I think is how you pronounce it, out of Buffalo.
Okay.
And cornerback Amari Henderson, he's out of Wake Forest. Who are these fucking guys?
I've heard decent stuff about this guy. He's got some good tape out there.
Yeah, he was with the Jacksonville on their practice squad last year, I guess.
Him, didn't we? Or did he just?
I don't know how that worked. I don't think they'd signed him to a futures contract, so he was available.
At the end of the day, he's here right now. So
yep. So we had offered him a contract. A little story with him. Once minicamp was wrapping up, he was getting ready to go back. He had to go back home he said a friend of his got killed in a car accident.
Oh yeah.
On Thursday, and then as he was getting ready to go, he got the news that the Vikings were wanted him to come to camp, and giving him a UDFA deal. So, talk about a swing of emotions there, but
they're liking what they're seeing out of buying him too back there at safety.
Yep. Sound like he did a pretty good job. So, we got OTAs coming up here in a little over a week. So, we'll see what happens when we start getting some more of the veterans and stuff in here, mixing them in with these guys. And, they're not doing any real hitting or anything, this weekend. All they had was helmet.
Nonetheless.
Right. They just had helmets
interacting with each other. It's going to be something.
Yep. And I know, there was talk, a couple of the guys, that they were, the biggest thing, they came in, they were so impressed with the facilities, and they were, seemed legitimately happy to be here, which is a nice
I think
thing.
we're handling our quarterback situation much better than that team across the border. So I'll go with that.
Yeah. Well,
fans are a little, spicy on it, but as far as the media goes and as far as the team goes handling it, it's going really well.
mm-hmm.
Compared to
the
guys across the lake.
Yeah, so and we'll leave the drama for those guys for right now. So
yeah, absolutely, they can keep it.
yeah. So anyway, that's most of the news from camp this week. And like I said, you know, the OTAs and stuff will be coming up in a week or so. So then we'll have some more. We'll see how things go with that. But with that, we're going to move on to our weekly classic beer commercial. And I think you guys will probably remember this one. It wasn't that awful long ago, but it was a pretty good one. So we'll give this a watch and we'll be right back.
If you pause the video a couple times, I don't blame you. You can always pause and come back.
As long as you keep watching when, after.
Right.
All right. We'll be right back.
Doesn't Miller Lite taste great?
Yeah, but I drink it because it's less filling.
Great taste.
Less filling. Great taste. Less filling. Great taste. Less filling. Great taste. Less filling. Great taste. Less filling.
Oh man, now that would make a great commercial.
Who wouldn't want to watch that?
Life is best told over a great tasting Miller Lite at a place called Miller Time.
I got an idea for the ending.
Let's make out.
Okay, we're back again. I hope you guys like the commercial. Like I said, we kind of like this going back and watching those, so we'll keep throwing some in here.
I had to watch that one a few times.
Yeah, why not? I mean, why wouldn't you? So anyway, yeah. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on to questions now.
Yeah, we've got some viewer questions that were brought to us this week, so we figured we hit those up here real quick. And we got the first two come from our buddy over at the Vikings Report, Drew Bunting. And remember, watch their show Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time, Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. It's a great show. Those guys have a lot of fun. They're a wealth of football knowledge. And
it's great. It's great.
You guys
some vintage stuff over there too as well.
Yep. They do a lot more of the old school stuff. So, give those guys a watch. You'll love what you see, and we appreciate them giving us all the help that they've given us, since we've started this venture. So
they're a big reason why we started our show. So
yeah. So like I said, we appreciate everything they do for us, and if we can get some of our guys to watch their show too, all the better. So
yep.
Anyway, question number 1 from Drew. He says, with the Mike Hughes trade, he says, are you expecting the Vikings to get another cornerback before camp, or just go with the guys on the roster?
I look for us to get somebody else. We did just bring in that guy from Wake Forest, from the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So, there's that, but, I think that's a body. I think we're looking at getting probably maybe not like a seasoned vet, but somebody that's got some years under their belt that's out there, and available. So
yeah, I know there's a few out there. I looked at the list earlier and I can't remember. I know like Drake Kirkpatrick, who used to play for Cincinnati. He's available.
That's a good example. Yeah, somebody I was thinking about.
There's a couple other ones that are,
somebody in that age
league average cornerbacks, late 20s or whatever that.
Perfect.
Are they a shutdown corner? No, but they don't, are they competent?
Right.
Yeah, and
somebody that can come into a different system and that hasn't been in this system before and possibly show something different than what they have in the past.
Yeah, but then, somebody like Kirkpatrick, Cincinnati still runs at least a variant of the Zimmer defense over there. So it wouldn't be that big of a jump for him, really.
No.
So I would look, I would agree with you. I would look first, we saved $2 million to the cap with Hughes, right now in this.
You can bring somebody on a prove-it deal too,
Yeah, a 1-year deal, that will get us through this year, with some competent backup anyway. We still do have Chris Boyd and
I'm not too worried at this
guys
point
like
because
that, but
we could make it work somehow, some way.
well,
By the time the season,
oh, go ahead.
by the time the season rolls around, I think it will be taken care of.
Yeah, and even if we don't bring anybody in before camp, I would expect them to watch the cut wires, at the end,
Roster cut downs and shit like that for sure.
see if you could find somebody there. And even if they do bring somebody in, there may be somebody better that comes available at that point in time that you can bring in as a number 3, number 4 guy in the back there too. So
I'm pretty excited about what Dantzler and Peterson and Mac are gonna do. So I mean, I like the upside. Yes, we could use a little bit more help there, but I'm excited to see what we have too as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Harrison Hand, he really came up pretty good last year towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, as far as our starters go, I think we're good.
Yeah,
but it's
we need some depth there.
It's the depth thing. We're all it takes. Dantzler got nicked up quite a bit last year, so you got to have somebody that's competent that can step in, and play for a game or two, or if need be, or at least a few series. But anyway, on to question 2 from Mr. Bunting. He wants to know who we think the top 2 teams in each conference are. So I guess I'll let you take that first, then I'll give you mine after that.
NFC, I'm going to have to go with, I will say, I got so many names going through my head right now. It was so close last year. It's hard to say. I want to say San Francisco could be possibly one, depending on the health of that team there. I believe Washington, not one of the top teams, but they're an up and coming team as well. Seattle, what's that?
Washington's got to get their quarterback situation figured out. But.
Right. Seattle, with Russell Wilson, you just never really know. I'd like to say us. I don't want to sound like a homer because, of course, I always have high expectations for us. I hope we're right there in the mix as well. People are on Dallas's ass as well. Right. Depending on the situation in Green Bay, and how things pan out with Sharon over there, they'll be right there too. As far as of course, Tampa Bay. I can't forget Tampa fucking Bay. Of course, there we go.
I was wondering about that because.
Yep, that almost slipped. I got to the AFC and Tom Brady popped right in my head, and I'm like, oh, he's in the NFC now, and they just won the Super Bowl. So I better get them. I better shout out Tampa Bay there. The AFC, Buffalo. They look like they could be tough. Cleveland with Stefanski. Depending on how Mayfield progresses, they look pretty good over there. The Steelers, I believe, are kind of on the back end of almost a rebuild. I like the Najee Harris pick over there in Pittsburgh. But I'm going to go with, like I was saying before, who the hell did I mention right away? Oh, we got Baltimore as well over there in the AFC. I'm going to go with Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo being over at the top of the AFC along with Kansas City.
For me, as far as the NFC, I think we're kind of on the same wavelength here.
Kind of went off there.
Yeah, you just please stand by.
Name every team.
Yeah, there's only I think you only missed like 4 or 5, so we got
right.
Hey, can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things? The things?
For me, on the NFC side of things, it always seems like, when a team tries to run it back and right after winning a Super Bowl, a lot of times it doesn't work out. But, just like until the Lions prove that they're not the Lions anymore, they're always going to be the Lions. And people have been doubting Tom Brady forever, the last 5-6 years.
Proves everybody wrong all the time.
And that's the thing, one of these years, this guy is going to finally fall off the cliff. I mean, he's 43 years old now, or pushing
Yeah.
44. You know,
He's doing unheard of things at this point in his career.
so, but until otherwise proven otherwise there, I mean, Tampa's probably going to be in the top 2 in the NFC, and I think San Francisco's probably the other one. You know, like I said, as long as that
Depending on
defense is
health.
healthy, you know, now, you know, I mean, they were putting up big numbers passing yards with Nick fucking Mullins last year when,
Yeah.
you know, Garoppolo was out. Now they've got Trey Lance in there that, you know, word out of camp was they were really impressed with what they saw out of him in the rookie stuff this weekend. So, you know, if those guys, if they can stay healthy, San Francisco's going to be a real tough out this year. And I think probably going to come down to those two, unless Tom Brady finally gets old, you know, then it opens it up a little bit more. The team from Wisconsin over there, if Rodgers is there, I mean, they're going to be right in the mix again. You know, they've been 13-3 the last 2 years. I expect him, if he's there, I expect him to be pushing real hard for the, you know, the NFC North. But if he's not there, they could be fighting for the cellar there. So, it, you know,
You're looking at, what was it, back when Barr fucking knocked out Rodgers type of year, I believe.
that was 2017, I think it was.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll see there. Over on the AFC, I mean, there's really 3 teams right now. You've got Kansas City, of course. You've got Buffalo, who, you know, almost got to the Super Bowl last year. And realistically, you know, if they would have beat Kansas City, they were healthier than Kansas City was going into the Super Bowl. They could have beat Tampa Bay, I think. So those Josh Allen has really come on, especially since he got.
He's really improved his accuracy and his decision making. He's looking pretty studly out there.
Having all those weapons, you know, Stephon Diggs and everybody else over there doesn't hurt either. But
no,
you know, they need to get a running game.
That's
going.
what good teams do, man.
Yep.
They bring in good players.
Right. You know, and then of course Cleveland would be the third one, I think. You know, and there again, that hinges
good
on
for them too. By the way, I you know,
oh yeah.
How could you hate Cleveland? I mean, they've been the underdog for a long time, and they've been through the dirt and the shit.
Yeah.
Good for them, you know.
So there again, you know, it all hinges on what Baker does. So
exactly.
So I guess that's, you know, my picks right now anyway, and we'll kind of see how that goes. But then our third question comes from Brother Bruns.
Brother Bruns.
And he's asking about what's going on with Jeff Gladney. Right now,
I think they're waiting for it to play out.
None of us knows. Yep, I think so too. They're waiting for.
I think they have an idea, which is kind of the reason why they haven't done anything yet. But they're waiting for the legal process to run its course.
Yep, I think so too. You know, now, you know, if it had been Joe Bag of Donuts, some baloney tech that had done this, he'd have been gone already.
If he wouldn't have been a first rounder, it's possible that he would already be out of the door.
Yep. But, you know, they're going to let the process play out. Honestly, I still think he's gone. If this, you know, this comes to pass that everything that was said was true.
Right.
You know, we had the whole what the hell rant, you know, back in the episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was.
I stand by that until
I do too. You know, if he actually did this shit, I don't want him on the fucking team.
No.
So, you know,
of course, you guys all know we don't you know, have the cards, so we can't kick him off the team. But
no,
people know how we feel about it. So
yeah, not going to be happy if, you know, if this is true and he's still on the team. But
I'm not going to boycott my team though either.
No. But so anyway, you know, I think, you know, to go back, kind of combine this with Drew's question, you know, I think we're going to bring somebody else in. I really think there's a pretty decent chance that Gladney's not playing, you know, week 1, either whether he's suspended or he's not on the team
There'll
anymore.
be somebody on the market at some point that we will probably bring in.
Yeah. So don't know if that answered the question, but that's, you know about as much about it as we do now. So.
Yep. We aren't the big wigs. We know about as much as everybody else that's watching this show.
Yeah, and Rick's been busy. He hasn't he hasn't returned my calls lately. So, they had the draft and stuff going. So, I'm waiting for the reply back on that, but I haven't heard. So, so anyway, that'll wrap up our questions for the week. And now we're going to go back into, one of our OG segments that we've, as the cool kids all say.
Oh yeah.
We're going 3 deep with this week's Where Are They Now?
Where are they now?
So this week's Where Are They Now player is part of the high flying wide receiver trio known as 3 Deep back in the late 90s. One wide receiver, Jake Reed. What do you got on him, Lance?
So in my opinion, to really get an appreciation for what Reed did, you'll have to go back and watch some of his years before, everybody's favorite guy, the super freak, came here. Reed was awesome. He complimented Chris very well. And what, and you know what? He wasn't a diva. He never bitched. He was very humble. He went out there, he did his job, and he did it well. He never got given, his dues a lot of the time. It was always Chris, and then coming down the road, it was Randy. But anyways, so he played for 12 seasons in the league. He split the last 4 of his years. He went from New Orleans to us to New Orleans. Him and Carter were big time before Moss showed up here. For a while, it was all about Carter and Reed before it was Carter and Moss. He combined with Chris Carter for 207 receptions, which set an NFL record at the time in one season, and that was back in '94. They had 4 consecutive seasons together where they both reached 1,000-yard receiving yards. He ended up retiring after the 2002 NFL season, at which time he got into owning some different businesses. He owned a arena football team and a pizza place. He said he loved being in Minnesota and he enjoyed all the lakes and fishing with Randy and Chris during the off season, you know, and spending time with the guys. He ended up moving back down to Georgia because he said it was just too damn cold up here. He was a Georgia boy out of Grambling, actually. I believe we took him in the 4th round. So he was a gem, you know. He really outplayed his draft stock, as one would like to say. Today with football in the rear view mirror, he kind of gave up on his businesses. He's a humble guy. He's a family guy now. He watches his son play for the Lions at safety, J.R. Reed, who was drafted, I believe, a couple of years back.
Yeah,
his daughter,
2019 draft, I think, wasn't it?
Yep. He plays for Detroit now. His daughter was also very athletic. She was part of the track team where she went to college. So nowadays you'll find Jake, you know, just relaxing, out doing what he loves, fishing. He played basketball for a while there to stay busy. What else do I got here? I think that's about it. Yeah, he played for New Orleans, came back and played for us for a year there at the end, and then went back to New Orleans. And after that, he retired. Like I said, he owned some businesses after his retirement. But at this point in time, he's pretty much a family guy and has settled down with his wife and is enjoying watching his children succeed at their takings in life.
Yeah.
So,
well, and like you said, you know, I was always a big Jake Reed fan when we had him in here. I mean, you know,
I love Jake. You know, with me when growing up, and I was with my friends, and we played football. One of us was always, you know, Jake Reed, and the other was Chris Carter. You know, and then of course you had whoever throwing the ball was Warren Moon or Brad Johnson. You know. Yeah. So,
you know, and look, you know, Reed probably could have been a number 1 receiver on a lot of teams.
He could have been, honestly, but he played that number 2.
Yep. Number 2,
probably
number 3 guy.
One of the best number 2 receivers, honestly.
I would agree with that. I mean, you know,
and Reggie Wayne did that too in Indy there behind Harrison for a long time. And then when he had the opportunity, which Reed never got, he took it and ran with it. So
yeah, because by the time Carter and Moss both moved on, then, you know, Reed was gone as well here, and he was at the tail end of his career. So, you know, he
basically once Moss started taking off is when Reed kind of started simmering down.
Yeah, because then he basically went to number 3 behind Moss and Carter then.
Yep, because Moss even started the season as the number 3 that year, you know, in '98, and had to work his way up into the starting role.
Yeah, but once he hit,
which didn't take him long.
No. Then when he had that national coming out party basically on Thanksgiving against Dallas, then it was we pretty much know we got something pretty special here. So
and you know what? Jake Reed never complained.
No.
All about support, and they were friends, you know, all 3 of those guys. Like I said, they'd hang out in the off season and go fishing and whatnot. So
yeah, it's a true team.
He was just an all around good guy.
Yeah, so I mean that's
what we got for Jake Reed on you. So if you don't know, now you know.
Or something like that.
Yep.
Alrighty. So that's about all we've got for this week. You know, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. You know, we're keeping rolling here, and we're
don't mind my telephone ringing there.
Yeah. Be big time in this area. You got all your phone calls coming in.
My mommy's calling me.
We're trying to do a show here, damn it.
Yeah, Mom, you know I'm recording the show. Quit calling me.
But anyway.
Mom, where's the meatloaf?
Mom, the meatloaf!
But anyway, yes, I want to thank everybody for watching. Just remind you guys, you know, if you ever have any questions or comments for us, you can leave them here on the YouTube page.
If you haven't subscribed, fucking hit that subscribe button.
Yes. We would really appreciate more subscribers. So please,
I'm seeing like 2,000 views and 56 subscribers, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? So I mean,
we'd really appreciate subscriptions.
I can't force you to hit the subscribe button, but you know you want to.
Yeah, it's bright and red, and just everybody wants to push the red button. So
I'm Groot.
Uh-huh.
I'm Groot.
That's right.
I'm Groot.
No! No, that's the button that will kill everyone. Try again.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, we're also, if you're taking a road trip someplace, now that it's nice out, at the lake, whatever, we've also got the podcast on audio version. It's on Spotify, it's on Amazon, and it's also on Pandora and iHeartRadio. So you can give us a
We're
listen
out there. You just gotta go looking for us.
We're out there. There again, check out the Twitter handle. It's at Vikings Uncensored. Our Facebook page is at Vikings Uncensored Podcast.
Seeing our subscribers goes up really tickles my fancy. So the more of you that do it would be great.
Yep. And if you're always in the mood for some cool pictures and memes and things like that,
we're popping those out on Facebook constantly. Instagram, we just joined up with. So
we're on Instagram as well. Picasso next to me over here, he's been pumping out a lot of memes and pictures and stuff.
I love making pictures, and I love being funny and being all that good shit.
Yep.
So I'll keep thinking and keep popping them out.
We're having a good time with this, and you guys just, check us out. We're glad to have you aboard. And even if you don't like us, like I said, comment and tell us that too. We can do it. So
if you have any suggestions on how we could do this better, by all means, speak up.
Or any suggestions on something you'd like us to cover on the show, any of that stuff, bring it to our attention. We'll do what we can with it. So
we could do makeup tutorials if you want us to.
Probably not, but but anyway, like I said, that's about all we got for this week. So why don't you take us out, Lance?
Thanks again for coming, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I loved seeing subscribers, views, comments. Don't be shy now. If you gotta say something, say it down below. Even if you want to tell us that we're fucking fat and ugly and that we don't have girlfriends, then whatever, troll us. I don't care.
Hey, now that's hitting a little close to home there. Okay, we'll see you guys.
Yes, we will see you later. Come back next Friday.